Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a mystery drama film, The Dry. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with an infant loudly crying in a crib inside a house. The walls are spattered with blood, and the door is left ajar. On the floor is the body of a dead woman. In a faraway city, a federal agent named Aaron wakes up in his apartment. He stares soberly out of a window, listening to a voice message from his childhood friend Luke's father. He urges Aaron to come to the funeral of his son. Open in front of him is a newspaper bearing the news of a murder-suicide in his hometown. Aaron then opens a plain card with no sender stated, only words accusing him and Luke of lying. Lastly, the card also orders him to be at the funeral. So Aaron drives to the small Australian town, which has been experiencing a months-long drought. The funeral is held at a small church, and Aaron silently joins the mourners at the back of the room. As the priest gives a eulogy for the dearly departed, a slideshow shows the picture of Luke and his wife Karen and their 2 children. This was the murder-suicide mentioned in the newspaper he was reading. The next picture shows 4 teenagers, and Aaron visibly reacts upon seeing this. His memories start to flash. It was him and Luke as teenagers frolicking in the nearby river with 2 blonde girls, Gretchen and Ellie. The funeral ends, and Aaron is approached by a now older Gretchen. She asks him if he heard from Luke before he died, and Aaron says that he was supposed to call him, but he never did. The blonde assures him that it wasn't his fault, and they all feel guilty for not checking in on their friend. Back in the church, Luke's parents convey their gratitude to the guests for attending the funeral. They begin to talk about their son and how he loved his family, but a man speaks up and vilely says that their son butchered his family, and he doesn't deserve to be mourned. Afterward, Aaron drives to the now dry riverbed, as he remembers another memory from his teenage years. The 2 girls had climbed into a truck bed and taunted him and Luke to catch up to the moving truck. He gets out of the car and walks to the now bone-dry river. This is the spot where the drowned dead body of Ellie was found 20 years ago. Aaron visits Luke's parents next. They are now taking care of their son's baby, who is the only survivor. The mother insists that her son couldn't have done such a heinous crime and asks Aaron to find out the truth behind the deaths. She believes that their son's farm might have gotten into financial trouble because of the drought, and maybe he borrowed some money and wasn't able to pay it back. Aaron is reluctant to take on the case and tries to refer them to other investigators, but the parents insist that it has to be him because he is an accomplished investigator and a friend of their son's. The father walks Aaron to his car after the visit. He tells Aaron to look at the finances of the farm, but Aaron tells him that he is not allowed to interfere with local investigations. The father then becomes agitated and tells him that he knows that he and the dead friend were lying about what happened when Ellie died. The boy's alibi was that they were shooting rabbits in a field, but the father saw his son running home that day from the opposite direction. Now he thinks that maybe if Luke killed Ellie, then his son could really have killed his family too. With a hard look, Aaron promises to look at the finances and then he'll leave. Inside his car, another memory surfaces. They were swimming in the river, and Luke playfully held Ella's head under the water. Gretchen was alarmed and screamed at Luke to stop it. Aaron secures a room in the town inn. He encounters the rude man from the funeral, who turns out to be Ella's cousin, Grant. With him is an aged man who is Ella's father. They immediately recognize him and are furious that he dares show his face in town after what he did to her. They threaten to hurt him if he doesn't leave town soon. To avoid a fight, Aaron quietly leaves and goes to his room. Now alone, another memory returns. After Luke tried to drown Ellie as a joke, she was pissed and got out of the water. Aaron held out his hand to her, and they left together. Back to the present, Aaron wakes up in the middle of the night and leaves his room. He is about to go down the stairs when he hears 2 gruff male voices, hollering about him being a killer. They go up and bang on his hotel room door, and Aaron hides down the hallway. The next day, he meets with the local police sergeant at Luke's house. He asks to see the financial records, and the sergeant complies. He also asks if he was the one who found the bodies. The sergeant points to the front door and says that he found Karen's body there, which he thought was strange. He then found the eldest son's body inside one of the bedrooms. Aaron visits the local school next, where Karen used to work as a bookkeeper. The school principal says that Karen had made a couple of mistakes with the accounts and that her family seemed to be plagued with financial problems. Another blast from his past. Ellie showed him the rocky area she often visited. The 2 then shared a kiss. Aaron goes to the station next, where the sergeant informs him that the bullets used to kill a family don't match the brand of bullets that Luke has at home. That night, he meets with Gretchen for dinner. He asks her if Luke had ever been violent with her when they were together, and she says no. She also believes that Ellie killed herself because she had family issues. Apparently, the girl had hated her father. The next morning, Aaron visits the parents' house again and sees the mother crying while cleaning out her son's old room. He tells her that everything's all right with the farm's finances, so it wasn't likely the motive behind the murders. He then helps her by volunteering to return the wife's overdue library books that the mother found. Later that day, he goes back to the spot Ellie showed him. Then he remembers the night when the four of them had camped out in the forest. Luke pretended he was injured, and Ellie grew sick of the other two tolerating his nastiness. In the present day, Aaron returns the library books, but notices that a news article about one of his cases is tucked inside a book. There's also a receipt dated a week before Karen died, with Grant's name written on the back. They haul in the cousin for questioning. Aaron accuses him of wanting to buy the dead friend's farm. However, Grant denies any involvement in the murders. Aaron's mind drifts to the past once more. He remembers that Luke tried to apologize to Ellie the next day, but she didn't want to talk to him. She then kissed Aaron in a classroom and he gave her a note asking her to meet him in the river. In the present, Aaron later discovers that someone put a dead calf on the roof of his car and then put up posters calling him a killer. He bumps into the principal, who takes him to his home so he can wash his car. He meets the principal's wife, who's emotional about the death of Karen and her son. The principal reveals that they used to live in Melbourne, but they were robbed one night and his wife became emotionally unstable after that. They lost a lot of money because of the robbery, and the principal took the job in the small town so they could start over. Another flashback reveals that the authorities found the note Aaron gave Ellie on her dead body. Luke then came up with the alibi that they were together shooting rabbits on the other side of town, so as to protect Aaron. After Ella's death, the town turned against Aaron and his family. People would insult and threaten them, so his father made the decision to leave the town, which is why Aaron hasn't returned for 2 decades. In the present, the next day, Aaron visits Ella's grave and finds Ella's father there. He tells him that Aaron's father had begged him not to encourage the townspeople to blame his son, but he refused because he knew he was lying. Aaron then asks Ella's father how he's so sure that he really wasn't with his friend that day, but father doesn't answer. Later on, he meets with Gretchen at her property. She invites him to her house where he sees Karen's handwriting on some documents on the table. She says that it's the application for school funding that Karen was doing before she died. They have drinks on the porch, and Gretchen pulls out a photo album, and they bond over the past. Caught in the moment, the two begin to tongue massage, but are interrupted by Gretchen's phone ringing. While she steps out to take the call, Aaron continues to flip through the album and sees a picture of Luke holding her infant son. He realizes then that Luke had an affair with Gretchen and fathered her son. He then asks her if she murdered the family, but she gets angry and tells him to leave. When he gets back to his hotel, he sees the principal's wife. She is worried because her husband had told her that he dropped by the hotel for a drink, but he isn't home yet. She then adds that she gets so paranoid sometimes that she thinks she saw people outside their house watching them. She continues to say something about the pressure getting to the principal, but the man in question arrives and they both leave. Aaron asks the hotel owner if the principal is here every night, and he says yes. Furthermore, the principal also likes to gamble. The next morning, Aaron goes back to Gretchen's house and steals Karen's papers. He carefully reads them in his car and sees that one application for a $70,000 grant was flagged by Karen for being suspicious. Weirdly, the listed recipient of the grant is the principal. He then realizes that the note that Karen wrote on the back of the receipt wasn't pertaining to Grant, the cousin, but the suspicious Grant instead. He thinks of the principal's money problems and comes to the conclusion that the principal is siphoning school funds for his gambling addiction. Aaron immediately goes to the sergeant and they ride together to arrest the principal. On the way, they contact the foundation that organized the grant and confirm that the $70,000 was actually awarded to the school. But the school never saw that money because it was directly deposited into the principal's account. Karen, as the school's bookkeeper, must have discovered the principal's wrongdoing and shared her suspicions with her husband. Luke then told her about Aaron, who has handled embezzlement cases before, and that is why the newspaper article about him was tucked inside Karen's book. They arrive at the school, but the principal has already escaped to the forest with a lighter and a can of gasoline. He plans to self-immolate, and he confesses that loan sharks came after his family when he couldn't pay his gambling debts, which is why he resorted to stealing school funds. When Karen found out, he killed her and her family to protect his secret. The principal then sets himself on fire, and the sergeant and Aaron tackle him to the ground and try to save his life. The sergeant and Aaron end up in the hospital with burns, although the sergeant's injuries are more severe. The principal is unrecognizable but still alive and has been taken to another facility. With the case closed, Aaron packs up his things and is about to leave town. But before he can really leave, he goes to the rocky area Ellie took him to. He leaves some flowers for her between the rocks, and there he sees her backpack wedged there. He opens it and sees that she had packed her clothes and a journal detailing the abuse she endured from her father. Obviously, she planned to leave and went to the river to say goodbye to Aaron, but her father caught her and drowned her. The movie ends with Aaron taking the backpack with him as he walks back to town through the dry riverbed. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.